everyone. Welcome to my live breakdown of the new trailer for Venom 3, where we have a surprising amount of things to discuss. Not only from the comics, but potentially from the movies themselves. Now, this is going to be a different type of trailer live breakdown. I'm going to try and really focus on breaking down the trailer so that this is more manageable to watch after the live. But then, of course, because you're joining me live, at the very end of the stream, we'll have a 5-minute Q&A. So I just want to let you know that's how I'm trying to make this work. But of course, I'm excited for you guys to chat, and your comments will be saved with this video, and everybody will be able to see them after the fact as well. All right, say hi to your future selves. Okay, here we go. Now, I think one of the funniest things one of you tweeted to me in anticipation of this video was that Sony just can't keep getting away with it. But yet they do. I thought that was just so funny. This is, of course, the Breaking Bad GIF. I thought it was just hilarious. But let's talk about, well, first off, one thing other people were also a little disappointed in. We'll talk about the Sony Spider-Verse movies in a moment. And Venom is the one that made them all possible, by the way. Venom is the one that started it all. But anyway, some people are also kind of disappointed that Michelle Williams isn't here. Michelle Williams, shockingly, was in both of the Venom movies so far. You wouldn't think she'd even be in one. But she not only was in both of them, but she seemed to really enjoy the franchise. She got to be She-Venom in the first film. And she said one of the reasons that she returned was so she could be She-Venom again. And yet that did not happen. Maybe that's why she was like, I'm not coming back a third time. But maybe she did. Maybe they'll have a surprise cameo. I mean, she's so good-natured, and she enjoys these films so much. I bet they probably could talk her into doing a cameo. Also, they have such a weird threesome going on with these characters, right? Because Venom, of course, is involved in the relationship. Thank you, Brent. All right, so let's take a look at these Sony Spider-Verse films, because they do keep getting away with it. Because I have a theory about this, all right? So Venom, of course, came out first. No Spider-Man in sight. It made almost $900 million back in 2018. I loved that movie. I still, to this day, remember, because it had such bad word of mouth coming out of the early press screenings, turning to the female reviewer or fellow press person next to me after the movie and being like, I really liked that. And she was like, me too. And in fact, the first Venom was very successful with women, and as Ben 10 pointed out, in China as well. But very successful film, and it made Sony feel they could keep doing this, and keep doing it they have, despite it really not working out any of the other times. They've mixed in the Spider-Verse movies in here, by the way, which is why you're still seeing some other big numbers, but I don't think Spider-Verse should be in this group. Although I guess technically it is, because, you know, when they did the Across the Spider-Verse, they started referencing these movies. But yeah, you know, Morbius, look at Morbius, 162 worldwide total. Madam Web even less at 100 million. And I think that significant, and even the last Venom only did 501, but that of course was during the pandemic. Everybody feels they should pull Andrew Garfield into this. And I don't know why they haven't, because Andrew Garfield, I think, would do it. He just really needs a paycheck. But yeah, so I think that so much damage has been done to this franchise that I think that while this movie looks good, and I think that people will see it, we're talking a lot about the shortened theatrical window. And I honestly feel that most people are probably going to watch this on digital. Like, how fast will it get to digital? Probably pretty fast. So if you're willing to wait 3 weeks to a month, you could. I don't think people are going to wait all the way for it to get on Netflix, because of course that's the current deal that Sony has. Let me poll. I know you guys like a poll. We'll take a little quick thing for a poll. When do you plan to watch Venom 3? So it would be opening weekend in theaters, sometime in theaters. Oh no, I guess in theaters. Let's just do in theaters, because I only get 4 options. In theaters, digital purchase or rental. Then the third option is stream on Netflix. And then the fourth option is not watching it. Okay, so feel free to vote in that poll. Anyone who's watching can vote. I'll close it in a little bit. But let's talk about something that's a really burning question for many of you. How the heck did Mordo get in this movie? And is Chiwetel Ejiofor playing Mordo? Or at the very least, a different version of Mordo? Because, of course, we now have the multiverse. Because not only is Baron Mordo in the movie, but so is Dr. Connors in another role. Why the heck is Dr. Connors in the movie? And then you know who else is in the movie? Danny Rojas from the end credits scene in No Way Home. He's not only in the movie, but he's wearing the exact same shirt as he is in this scene. In fact, Tom Hardy's wearing the same shirt as he is in this scene, in this film, which leads me to believe it comes right out of that end credit sequence. They also probably, I forget they filmed it during one of the Venom movies. I think they didn't film Venom 3 that long ago. But it's a really odd, interesting situation. And by the way, there's a lot of Ted Lasso actors here. Ted Lasso, of course, being the very popular Apple TV show, the most popular Apple TV show. And not only is Danny Rojas in this film, but so, of course, is Juno Temple. And some people have been pointing out Sony has nothing even to do with Ted Lasso, even though they've been hiring so many people from that show. A number of the actors are doing voice work in Garfield. It's, in fact, an Apple TV Warner Brothers show. But yeah, this is really bizarre. That they have these actors. And, Ben 10 points out that Chiwetel Ejiofor is apparently playing someone called Orwell Taylor. So it really just is sloppy casting. But then how could you do it not just with Chiwetel Ejiofor, but also with Rhys Ifans? And having Danny Rojas back. I mean, it's sloppy to the point of insulting. That you're just like, that people have the connective ideas. I saw some people, and some of you apparently believe it, that there's Peter Parker in this movie. Peter Parker I don't believe in this movie, especially since Madam Web took place apparently in a different, further back in the timeline. She's not a contemporary of Venom and Morbius, which is why she's younger in that film. That movie takes place much earlier, I believe. But none of this stuff has been cemented. So it's really kind of a mess. And I think probably most likely, the Danny Rojas stuff is intentional, but the other stuff is just perhaps, sadly just sloppy. All right, so we're going to go through the trailer now. Thank you very much for joining me. And I have lots of other graphics uploaded to show you. All right, but here we go. Venom: The Last Dance trailer starts now, Eddie. That Tom Hardy. We're going to talk about him. All right. So Venom: The Last Dance. Now he's apparently still in Mexico, and that's where's my arrow? All right. So that says "No te pierdas," which means "do not miss," and that could mean a lot of things. Venom doesn't miss. Maybe they're trying to say the Sony Spider-Verse doesn't miss. And, maybe also, maybe Venom and Eddie feel maybe they wouldn't miss each other, right? So I'll be curious to see, because it's so big. It's such a big thing written on the wall. It's so clear. You feel like there has to be some meaning to it. But then, of course, this is a Sony Spider-Man-less movie. So maybe there isn't. So some of you who are from the region are saying it translates actually, Google failed me. It means don't get lost. Oh, thank you. See, one of the benefits of the live breakdown. So don't get lost. So is Eddie, or some of you are interpreting it as maybe don't lose yourself. That makes a lot more sense. I like that. That's very, very poetic. So don't get lost. All right. So, but Eddie this evening knows where he's going. All right. So here you can see him. He's going into this place. He uses his Venom fist to break down a door. He takes off the handle. And he's talking. All these dogs are important, by the way. So he's messing with some bad dudes, and he's giving them a warning, telling him, I got a bad side to me. They don't believe him. I mean, look. Hold on. Look, the guy's wearing Crocs. Hold on, let me see it. Yeah, look, he's got Crocs on. He loses his shoes, as you're about to see, but he's got Crocs on, which I think is very Eddie, certainly this very Eddie Brock. So he's going to go to town on these bad dudes, and he and Venom are clearly working together, but the dogs, I think the dogs are here not only for backup. You'll see he not only Venom's up, but he gets these dogs to help him. These guys have not been very nice to these dogs, which I think is one of the reasons to make the audience feel it's okay that Venom's about to bite all their heads off as a snack. All these dudes are looking like a snack, and they don't even know it. So he's letting the dogs loose, who are attacking the guys as well, the bad guys. And so Venom and Eddie and these dogs are all working together. And look, so Venom is like, I guess Eddie's like, I want to help too. So he launches Eddie across the room. I don't know why Eddie would want to endanger himself whatsoever to take out that guy. All right, very 90s. So yeah, they're all working together. And they're like, who are you? And he does the "We Are Venom" line. And some of you thought this was lame because he and Venom haven't really timed this out properly. Also showing that they're quite the odd couple that don't really work very well together. I thought it was fine, but I'm not a big, huge Venom comic book fan. If you did this to Batman, I would be like absolutely appalled. So it was fine with me, but it was a cute little joke. And so, they totally mess up their hero moment. They've been turned into an anti-hero. And then look, he's going to go nom, nom, nom. So, all four heads. Disgusting. So then they're leaving. And so he got new shoes and new friends. Look, see, the dogs are going with them. So obviously something happened to his poor Crocs. So he got these cowboy boots and all these cute little doggies. Have freed him, and now they're now his friends. Aw. And he goes, and Venom says, you take me to the nicest places. They're delicious. Like Venom thinks it's like a 4-star. Get it? 4-star restaurant with 4 heads. And some of you have questioned Tom Hardy's acting choices. I'll say it right here. Tom Hardy, I think, is one of those actors who really wants to find a way to entertain himself. And I've met actors like that. They're not so much they're less interested in entertaining you than they are in entertaining themselves. I'm sure they feel that by entertaining themselves, they'll better entertain you, but I don't always think that's the case. And so I think that Tom Hardy created a role that he was interested in playing with some, it's somewhat comics accurate. And I think because these movies have done the best to date of all these films, that, he's just going to continue with it. Let me close the poll to see where you're going to go with this. Mika, that's funny. Is he still a journalist? I think they totally lost that thread. All right, so for those of you voting, and where do you plan to see Venom 3? 50% of you are planning to see it in theaters. That's pretty good. 25% of you will wait. You're happy to wait like 2 or 3 months for it to get to Netflix. That's very far. That would be like 3, maybe even 4 months. 17% of you are not watching it, but only 7% of you want to do digital purchase or rental. So that's pretty good that a lot of you are interested in watching it in theaters. That's very strong. Actually, for this film. I'm surprised, in fact, that so many of you are interested in watching it in theaters. All right. It was very good for the movie, and it shows that Sony was right to make a third entry. All right, so there's Sony. They're like, ha-ha. I still have PTSD because this is the logo that played in front of Madam Web. Oh, I still remember that. They're like association with Marvel. Kevin Feige's like, I had nothing to do with this. Leave me alone. They should really be like for Marvel's 15 or 20-year-old deal, or even longer than that at this point. All right, so I love this entrance to the base, though. Is that like a sand waterfall that you get through to go into there? And so there's Juno Temple going to work. Just another day at the office. Or is it? There she is. I was so much like Juno Temple, and I like her hair. She's kind of got my hair vibes. I'm like, I like it, Juno. And then, of course, I even missed that was at first Baron Mordo. I was just focused entirely on Juno Temple because I'm a Juno Temple fan. I think she's great. But then, yeah, it's Chiwetel Ejiofor. Hey, man, he's just picking up another paycheck. Leave him alone. Probably. I mean, if this movie really was on the ball, he would be a Baron Mordo variant, but I guess not. All right. So look, they have more symbiotes. And by the way, I looked up. I was like, what symbiote is red and green? And there turns out that there is one. And it's Lasher. We're going to talk about Lasher as this trailer continues. But that's Lasher. He's a red and green symbiote So I think that maybe that's part of him, right? He's been divided up into lots of little pieces. But I think there's a potential opportunity that it's Lasher. And Lasher's going to keep coming up, all right? But anyway, we move along. And look, ooh, Danny Rojas, there he is. So there, let's get him back here. All right, so there he is from the end credit scene. Same exact shirt, same bar. However, he's clearly had a little bit of a rough time. Maybe he's already touched that symbiote. We don't know. But apparently, Chiwetel Ejiofor has come to collect it. You can see he keeps him from touching it and slams down a beaker or a little test tube to capture it. He always has long hair. He just has a ponytail in the original end credit scene. Danny Rojas is a great actor. I think he actually is originally a soccer player who became an actor for Ted Lasso. And he's actually very good. I've just rewatched that end credit scene before doing this breakdown. And he's very funny because he's telling Eddie about Thanos. And he says, that alien made my family disappear for 5 years. And he does it so well. Now, yes, this was in the MCU, the end credit sequence. The whole point of the No Way Home end credit sequence, and let's get Eddie in here. Let's see here. There he is. Was that it took place in the MCU. And the joke is that for all of No Way Home, Eddie was there. He just never left this bar. Instead, he got drunk and then got yanked immediately back to his own universe. But maybe it's a different universe. Maybe it's an entirely different universe, which would explain the lack of Michelle Williams. Although you're going to see that Patrick Mulligan, the character Stephen Graham played in Venom 2, is still here. And so is Mrs. Chen. I mean, this is just, although none of the multiverse stuff has really made any sense. All right, but because it's the multiverse, when he gets pulled out of the MCU, who's to say there aren't multiple Danny Rojases, right? Or as David is pointing out, his real life name is Cristo Fernandez, but I like calling him Danny Rojas. He's so great on Ted Lasso. So it could be the bartender of the different universe. Like when he gets pulled out of that, he might be in the exact same bar, only he's no longer in the MCU. Was that Doctor Strange who yoinked him out of there? Or was it Kevin Feige? That'd be hilarious if they cut to Kevin Feige with a sling ring, just being like, all right, let's get him out of there. And Amy Pascal's like, you're no fun. All right. So, let's continue. And they're like, we got to stop it. We got to get this guy. Let's bring him in this fall. I love this. I loved this. This was just cool. I just love that these guys, I have no idea why they're dangling from here. It's very funny, but it looks cool, right? I don't know if any soldiers actually do this, but I love it. Look, they drop him in the water like that. Oh, it's so cool. I think it's so well done. I love it. So he's on the run, right? And he's wearing the exact same outfit, by the way, as he's wearing in that end credit sequence, right? It is a little Dune-ish, J.A., that's right. So it's the same shirt, 2 shirts that he's wearing. All right. So they drop him in. They're taking him on. He's going to go all Venom. So, yeah, that's the exact same shirt you can see. Hold on. Yeah, see? Exact same outfit from the end of No Way Home. And it's like, we're on the run. And he says, we're living the dream. Oh, look, they're taking him out underneath the water. He tried to go full Venom. It didn't work. Well, that's kind of sad, actually, with him screaming. Hold on, let's look at that again. Oh, now I'm sad. You leave Venom alone. All right, so he says, we're living the dream, which makes me partially wonder if the Vegas sequence is a dream, but then I don't think so because he gets driven there by Rhys Ifans and his family. All right, so we're in Vegas. He's looking pretty James Bond-like, what could have been, speaking of alternate realities. So he cleans up good. And you know who else cleans up good? Mrs. Chen. You know, his friend, who owns who works at the convenience store. Let me go get the thing, just to jog your memory there. There she is in the original Venom film. He, of course, shops at her store and also protects it. So she's in Vegas, too, of course, playing the slots. And I think this is very charming. You can see And look, they have dance sequence, which makes me almost feel like it is a dream sequence. I'm like, this is very surreal. What are the odds they both be there? Then they go dancing with him as Venom. You're like, what's happening? But I think it could be charming. Again, I don't know how Venom fans will feel, comic book fans. They might be like throwing up in their mouths, but the rest of us are like, it's fun. I like it. All right. Now, they're not having fun in the lab, right? And this stuff could be out of order, by the way. Part of me feels this might be earlier in the film, and they're like, we've got ourselves a problem. We better go get Tom Hardy's Venom. All right, so look, there's Mulligan. Now, remember this guy? Probably not. I didn't. All right, so here's Mulligan. He is from Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage. He was the police officer who was the detective looking into Venom and the whole situation. And that's right, Ben 10. He is, at the end of that movie, something weird happened to him. He had the blue eyes, and everybody feels, in the comics, this character becomes Toxin. Now look for the distinguishing marks of Toxin. So if he probably shows up in this movie, he's got a green tongue. So if Stephen Graham starts licking stuff with a green tongue, you'll be like, ooh, Toxin's coming. You can tell your friends next to you. You can be like, oh, it's going to be Toxin. But he's also otherwise red and black. He's a mix of Carnage, because in the comics, he's, just like Carnage comes from Venom, Toxin comes from Carnage. So also, he might be screaming because he's being tortured. He's being screaming maybe because, sonics are being applied to him. Maybe he's screaming because he's a baby. He's a baby symbiote because, he comes from Carnage. But and pay attention to this scream. It's going to come back to haunt us, and potentially the movie a little bit later in this trailer breakdown, because there's a big famous comic book storyline that they're referencing. All right, so now there he is. There's Dr. Connors. There he is. Right there, playing the ukulele? And Venom has put this family in horrible danger by traveling with them through the desert. It's so weird to have Baron Mordo and Connors, Chiwetel Ejiofor and Rhys Ifans. It's just so odd to bring back these actors. It's just so bizarre. But he's with this family. I think they drive him, he gets involved in their adventure. They picked him up. I don't know what happened to his horse that we see at the end of the trailer. Now look at this. Ooh, he's like, why did they need us? And there's another symbiote. It seems to have taken on some kind of an animal that is really crazy. All right, so we'll talk about this a little bit more as we go on. But it's causing a mess. All right, now Venom says, my home planet has found me. All right, he's like, there has to be a reason that they're after us. And so this is the planet of, hold on, let me get it. There we go. The Planet of the Symbiotes, a comic book storyline from 1995, a take on Planet of the Apes, when all the symbiotes came to Earth and started taking over regular people and committing crimes and murder and then jumping to another person. I don't know if they'll go that far in the movie itself with taking on civilians. I don't know at what point in the movie this happens. It could be at the halfway mark. It could be in the third act. They might stop it from actually ever totally happening. Maybe it's a warning. Maybe Venom's telling him what could potentially happen. And so we'll see. But that's the original cover from 1995. I don't know if they're really going to, do too much of the storyline, but I think they're referencing it at least somewhat. Now, how did they get drawn to the planet Earth in the comic book? Well, they were drawn by a scream. Now, in the comics, it was Venom. Venom and Eddie had separated, and Venom was very upset about it. He missed his friend. So he let out a psychic scream that let the symbiotes from his home planet know where he was. But here, it could be that scream that Mulligan, as Toxin, lets out that we just saw. It could be that scream. It could be Lasher, which I believe is the animal type symbiote that we're seeing. So a lot of interesting things going on here. All right. That are somewhat comics accurate. All right, then we're moving on here. Now he's traveling by plane. I guess he couldn't get a ticket, so he just travels on the outside. Seems to be a Spanish language airline, because Salitas is written on the door. But look, by the way, where is this? Hold on. Oh, nope, I missed it. 1 second. Okay, hold on. I want to get him right in the door frame. All right, hold on. Yeah, look, there he is. Ha 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 ha, it was worth it. It was worth it. Look how funny that is. I wonder if they'll do a take on that famous Twilight Zone episode. Look at him looking through the window there. So funny how he's like, hey, lady. Oh, I love it. All right. So moving on. They're like, what's on the plane? Is it Lasher? Now, of course, Lasher is the red and green symbiote that I told you about that was potentially the samples that we were looking at. But Lasher has had some other ways that he's looked, which is why I'm thinking Lasher. At one point, the military had him grafted to a war dog, a German Shepherd that's used for dogs. So I thought that was very interesting. Kind of looks like that. And also, Lasher is known for having like these barbed, lots of legs, right? And that comes into effect because as this trailer progresses, you're going to see, he's like, he really swears. He's like, oh, what the heck is that? Now look at those legs. It makes me wonder if Lasher in this case is maybe attached to a scorpion or something else that he found in the desert, like some kind of insect. But that's looking like this Lasher, don't you think? Let me move the picture so you can see it a little bit better. That looks kind of like Lasher to me. I think it's Lasher. Now, again, they might have like put Toxin and Lasher together, although I'd be surprised if Stephen Graham is underneath that. But let's see. Yeah, he's not very green here, but maybe it's the lighting. You don't know for sure. Because he looks more like the green with the war dog, but he doesn't look the bright green on the left. All right. But Lasher is the only one who kind of looks a little bit like that. So he's still got the remnants of the Toxin. So apparently they get to this facility after being in Vegas. Now there we go. So he's like giving a warning. Looking good. Oh, she's even got my eye makeup. I love the look, Juno. I love the look. We're both wearing white. Okay. So I think Stephen Graham's saying something like, if as long as Venom's alive, we're all in danger. Maybe he's saying Venom is calling to the other planet. Although I wouldn't trust this dude. Now, some people tried to say that was Peter Parker. That doesn't make any sense. I just think that's the Reese Ifans family. I mean, we'll see. But I just think that doesn't make any sense to me at all. I mean, why would you put little Peter Parker in here? I think it's going to kill the movie. Everyone's just going to roll their eyes and be upset. All right, so look, the whole family's going overboard. I'm sure Tom Hardy's going to save him. Look, there he is. That's actually Tom Hardy right there. So, hold on. There's Tom Hardy. There's the family. Oh, be a hero, Tom Hardy's Venom. All right. So look, I think this stuff, I wonder if this is cut together differently. But there, something clearly went wrong in the lab. Look at that. They're opening fire. But they're also opening fire on Lasher or Toxin or a new character. A really creepy looking symbiote. Get a rolled up newspaper and squash it. Although I find the best way to kill bugs is actually Windex or something that's an aerosol spray, so you don't have to actually whap it. You can get it with aerosol. A friend of mine taught me that trick. So he was like, I think this might be, we might not make it out of this one alive. And Venom is like, Eddie, it's time. And you're like, what are you guys gonna do? What are you guys gonna do together? Venom, the last dance. He's like, I like this. Although I feel kind of bad for this horse. Because I'm like, what if you guys mess up? They don't seem to be that worried about it. But anyway, this is still back when they're in the desert. And he's like, and I like the way he phrases it. He's like, how fast do you think they get that horse to go without killing it? And Venom says, only one way to find out. So that poor horse is just minding its own business. But, oh, wow, what an upgrade. That looks amazing. So there they go. And, I had said, I hope that Venom and Eddie get to ride off into the sunset together. And then, of course, they found their mode of transportation. So, wow. So he can hardly hold on. And in fact, he can't hold on. But that's okay. Venom can hold on to him. And I thought that was pretty good. And a lot of you felt that, Stephanie just said that's the shot that made her want to watch the movie. All right. So those are my thoughts on the trailer. Let's do the Q&A. Hold on. for 5 minutes. All right, 5-minute Q&A. It's 12:18. You guys can ask me anything you'd like about this movie until 12:23. Tenerife says, will Craven be the last? That's right, Craven comes out after this movie. I kind of hope so. I hope that they start over and spin off of a live-action version of the Spider-Verse movies. There's been rumors that Lord and Miller are taking over. Thanks, Aralysis. I'd be surprised if they did. I don't know if they want that kind of baggage. But let's see how Craven... I thought Craven had a beautiful release date on the Labor Day weekend, and it moved to the holiday season where I think it's just going to get massacred. So it probably will be the last one. Jennifer says, how much do you think this will make? My guess, because of the way people are going to the movies these days, I would suspect around 500. I think if it's good, it might perform similarly to Godzilla, especially because so many of you said you wanted to see it in theaters. Maybe along the lines of Godzilla x Kong, which was around 500. Let me get the box office back up here. Which was around 500 million. The last Venom did 501. I think it could beat that. I think it could beat that potentially. And then maybe this wouldn't be the end. Paul, I think it's the end for Tom Hardy, though. Paul says, I'm simultaneously annoyed with Sony and super excited at the same time. That's funny. I think that's Sony's like, yes, we have them. Let's see. Steven says, do you think 3 weeks is enough space for Joker 2 and Venom 2? Or could they still cut into each other's box office? I think they'll be fine. I think that there's enough time for Joker to really take off or not work out because of the risks that they're taking with that film. I think it'll be fine. And also, remember, it comes out basically for Halloween. Mid to late October. So that's actually a pretty good idea. Devin, I did see that ridiculous comment that Sony apparently feels people will watch Craven multiple times over the holidays. I guess they feel it'll be like Jumanji. That did very well in the holiday space, and so did the first Aquaman. But there's too many big movies coming out this holiday season, and people are just not going to see Craven. Thanks, Jermaine. That's so sweet of you. VTTV, Craven was pushed to December. Edward says, how is it so convenient that these symbiotes just drop off parts of themselves anywhere? Can't they even control the body parts to not break away? Well, in the comics, they do it intentionally. It's a way to survive. It's their way of reproducing. And I think in the movies, the idea is like, it'll be, a way to keep getting stuff, keeping the story going. Let's see here. Hey, Danny. Marvel's Magic Trio says, I've heard a rumor that the movie's about Venom finding out he's always killed by Peter Parker. No, you're just making that up, Magic Trio. That's right, little baby pizza. The symbiotes act like parasites. Hey, Piro. 50 pence, I agree. The problem with all of these Sony Spider-Verse movies is that they're taking characters that aren't meant to be leads and making them leads. These characters are all supporting. They all are supposed to play off of Spider-Man. And so I think that they just weren't designed to be solo characters. And I think that's part of the issue. Oh, 1 more minute. Jacob, maybe we'll see Venom's Homeworld. I personally wouldn't pay for it if I were Sony. I'm like, I don't need to pay for that. Mish, I don't know why you think Mordo's a TVA agent. I mean, watch him be a TVA agent, but I don't see any evidence of that whatsoever. Rogue Frogger, Sony will never fully integrate with the MCU. And the only reason they have any kind of crossover is because Kevin Feige really wanted Spider-Man. And so that's why they have that delicate, difficult relationship. But I think that you'll never see a full crossover. Sony would have to sell it back. And because these movies are their most successful, I don't see that happening. It would be nice for Tom Hardy to be able to do the Venom storyline. Maybe they'll be able to do that after after this movie, because Tom Hardy will feel he did his, he had his last dance. KT and Biscuit says, Craven end credit scene? I don't know. I mean, I think people are getting tired of end credit scenes because they don't pay off anymore. Like, the great thing about end credit scenes beforehand was that they paid off. They actually did get you ready for the next installment, and so you could be excited about them. But now they just seem like empty and broken promises. Oh, that's so sad, but true. All right, this has been 5 minutes. I want to keep this stream under control. There will be a live breakdown of Alien Romulus tomorrow, and then there will be news streams on Wednesday and Thursday. So I hope that they wait for the Paramount Skydance merger until Wednesday. That would really help me out. Okay, everybody, see you soon.